So, Davin, if you're ready, I'm going to hand the show over to you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kinsey. I love hearing those introductions. Kinsey always does such a great job. But yes, I'm excited to be here today. So we are, of course, like Kinsey said, we're doing another deeper dive. We previously went from weekly, and now we're going to be doing them once a month. So at the end of every month, I believe it's one of the last Thursdays, you should be able to tune in and catch another topic on cybersecurity. But today, we are going to talk about how to recognize and avoid phishing scams. You all probably get tons of emails every single day, and probably 1 out of 10 is a malicious email or something. And so today we're going to talk about how to avoid falling for one of those scams. Of course, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll try and answer them all at the end. And of course, we're going to keep it short, 30 minutes, but let's go ahead and get started. So first, what is a phishing email? I like this picture because after you click on a phishing email and find out it's a phishing email, this is usually the face you make. But so there's different types of phishing email, but basically phishing emails spin on words, of course. Phishing, it's a criminal, a cyber criminal trying to lure you in or dangle a fake lure to get you to click on a link or give them information such as credit card numbers, bank account numbers, passwords, credentials, usernames, anything valuable to them. They're trying to bait you to latch on and give that information up. So of course, you've heard of phishing emails. And so phishing, that's where someone is basically impersonating another person in your organization or another organization trying to get you to click or download malware onto your computer or give them information. But there's different types. And so phishing emails are sent out in mass. And so there's a cyber criminal probably sending out about 100,000 plus phishing emails to everyone they can. And so the way cyber criminals are working, they are looking for conversion rates. And so if they get 1% of that 100,000 plus phishing emails, that results in ransomware, they're a millionaire in a couple of days or a week or two. And so that's how cyber criminals are thinking when they're talking about phishing emails. But there's also spear phishing. And so that's like a very targeted attack, a very targeted phishing email. And for example, it often happens to new employees. So for example, you get a new employee and they put on LinkedIn, "Oh, happy to be working at blank, blank, blank." Well, if a cyber criminal sees that, they see it as an easy target because that new employee most likely hasn't gone through cybersecurity training or has no cybersecurity training or doesn't really know how the organization operates yet. So they can send them a very targeted, specific attack, a cyber attempt attack to try and lure them to becoming a victim or statistic of phishing email or successful cyber attack. There's also phishing, voice phishing, or like a malicious caller, someone calling you, trying to impersonate someone else. There's also compromised emails, actual legitimate emails from within your company that have been compromised. And so the most likely been compromised because that person themselves has fallen for a cyber attack, for a phishing email, and they may have given their credentials to their personal email or their business email. And so from there, you get an email from them and everything looks correct. Everything looks fine. And you trust that source. And so there's multiple different types of phishing emails, but we're going to learn how to really avoid all of them. And so why are phishing attempts? Why is it so important? What's been going on in cybersecurity? Well, in 2021, 83% of organizations, that's a huge number. First off, 83% of organizations experienced a successful email-based phishing attack. So that means a user got a phishing email and they either did something risky, such as clicking on that link, clicking on a bad link, downloading an attachment that had malware, downloading malware, They may have provided credentials, gave someone their login and their password, or even in some cases, send money. And you think that's crazy. Oh my goodness, I would never do that. But it happens every single day. And cyber criminals are getting rich off of it. And so you have to be prepared and you have to know what to look for. But what's crazy is that in 2020, from 2020 to 2021, we saw a 46% increase in successful phishing attacks. And so there's a problem. Something's going on. Where did this come from? It didn't just come out of the blue. So phishing emails and the successful phishing emails and the increase in phishing emails really started when COVID took off. And of course, because we were working from home, may have even had hybrid work models, but we had to rely on social media or different chat resources, Slack, or we had to rely on emails to connect and interact with one another. And so basically that opened the door for cyber criminals because we had to blindly trust that the person that we were talking to because we couldn't see them face to face. And so phishing emails took off. But we're not hopeless. You're not hopeless. Your employees aren't hopeless because there's things that you can do to prepare your employees, your organization, and everyone else to not become a victim of a phishing email. And so today we're going to talk about a process called S.L.A.M. And so S.L.A.M stands for sender, link, attachment, and message. So you go through these, you get an email, you go through these 4 easy steps, easy to remember: S.L.A.M, sender, link, attachment, message. You go through those and you will find red flags to each stage. And if you don't find a red flag in the sender stage, maybe you'll link another red flag. And so you go through this, and this gives you a better chance of avoiding a phishing scam. So sender, this is the first step. Of course, you get any email, you look at who's it from. And so you look at the sender. Do you know this person? Do you maybe recognize the name, or do you even know the company that's coming from? Well, when you do that, you need to make sure that their email address is correct. Is their domain verified? Is it a domain that you recognize? And so when we talk about domain like Gmail, Yahoo, or a personal at IronTechSecurity.com, do you recognize that? But even if you do, sometimes those email addresses, those domain names, can be spoofed or they're fake, and so they're fake to be made to look like a real one. So they could have maybe one simple letter change, or they could add a word in there, or they could even add a letter. So it could be, just for my personal sake, so the end of mine is at IronTechSecurity.com. It could be at Iron and Tech Security or IronTech and Security.com. It would look normal, but that one little change can make a difference. Next is, were you expecting an email from that person? Of course, you get emails randomly all the time, but if they're asking for something specific or asking to click a link or something like that, were you expecting that? That's something to think about. And we talk about emails becoming compromised. Well, when you get an email, make sure it's from someone you trust, but don't stop there. If it is the possibility of it being compromised, that happens usually from poor password management, which is something we can talk about down the road. And we've done webinars about password management. But when you share your credentials, of course, that mix-up can happen where the email becomes compromised. But you have to go through these short, simple steps when getting an email from someone, possible phishing email. Main thing, do you know the sender? We're going to look at an example real quick. And so this example, this picture right here, you can see it. This is actually a simulated phishing email that we send to all of our clients. And it's sporadic. We have multiple different phishing emails, but it's an amazing training tool that we use not only for our clients, but for our employees as well at IronTech Security. And so we'll just focus real quick on the sender. you can see in this specific example, it says human resources. Well, you get an email from human resources in your organization. Okay, well, that's legitimate. I should check it out. But first, you go through the sender stage. So you can hover over a name or whoever it's coming from. So human resources, if I hovered over this, the actual email address it would say is from hr@online.hr.net. Well, for my specific organization, that domain name, I have no idea what that is from. That has no affiliation to IronTech security. So that's a first red flag. But also, I'm not expecting a email from human resources. And so that's the second red flag, just by going through the sender stage. But that's not where you stop. S.L.A.M, you got to the S, now you go to L, link. Now, links are one of the most common ways cyber attackers will try and get you to try and lure you in to bait you. This is easy because if you just simply click, all it takes is one click. If you just click on the link, it could either download something malicious to your workstation, to your network, or it can take you to another website, a fake website, to extract more information out of you. And so, for example, say the specific email that we just looked at, click on the link, it actually took you to a website asking for your bank information. And so if I had fallen for the phishing email and put in my bank information, that's how easy it is to fall for that phishing attempt. But some advice to, if you get an email and you see the link and you're not too sure, you can hover over it, it'll actually take you or at least show you what the full link is. And so multiple times in phishing emails, you'll see a link, but it may just be the word link underlined, highlighted in blue, and it may just be the word link. It doesn't show you where it's going to take you, or it may just say, click here. Well, that's an easy way because curiosity killed the cat. Okay, well, click here, click on it. Now either you have something malicious on your device that could result in ransomware, or it's taking you to that other website. But if you hover over it, it should show you the full link or exactly where it's wanting to take you without you having to click. But even if you're still not sure, when you're in doubt, do not click. You don't have to, just do not click. We'll look at this example from that same phishing attempt. So we went through sender. Okay, if I didn't see any red flags, okay, let's keep going through the message. All right, there's a link. Well, if I hovered on that link, it would show me that it's trying to take me to the website for more bank information. But that is the step I would take. First off, in my personal experience, because I've had training, I would know not to click on that link. But if someone didn't and they hovered over it, that would be a step that they could take to understand that, okay, this is at least something I'm not comfortable with. I should send this to my information security team, if you have one, to check it out. And that's another important aspect of InfoSec team that we'll get into later. But sender, check out the name, make sure it's someone you trust and you know, domain's correct, link, hover over it. If you're in doubt, do not click. You keep going through S.L.A.M and you go through attachments. Now, attachments are another way cyber hackers can get malware on your device, resulting in multiple different things, but of course, everyone knows ransomware. And the reason cyber attackers and cyber criminals, they use attachments to bait you, to lure you in, is because curiosity. Like I said, curiosity killed the cat. And usually they use enticing names of that file or of that attachment to make you click on it. So maybe if you're an accountant, it could say financial report from blank blank, maybe a client of yours. It could be a spear phishing attempt. And so then you know you're a new client, or new employee. Oh yeah, he doesn't have training yet. We'll send him this. He probably thinks it's a client of theirs. He'll click on it. We got one. Well, there's things you can do, of course, to look for those red flags. One, if you're not expecting an attachment, why would you get one? There are people who most likely are not going to send you one out of the blue, but curiosity killed the cat, but it can also save it. So if you're curious, if you're not too sure about the attachment, like I said, you don't have to click on it. Ask someone or send it to your InfoSec team and they can check it out. They can tell you, but don't risk your device, your workstation, your network just because you're curious. That if you get an attachment from an untrusted source that you're not sure, that's a red flag. Now, briefly want to talk about another tool. It's an EDR tool. Say you clicked on that attachment. Oh, you messed up. Oh no. Well, if you had an EDR, endpoint detection response. We've done a webinar regarding that, but that's a tool that would be able to help you. It's a preventative cybersecurity measure that would be able to help you in the instance, oh no, you clicked on this. Maybe now it's trying to access another folder, create folders in the background. The EDR would be able to stop that. But of course, there's multiple cybersecurity tools that you can do to add to this, to your layers of security. But in this specific case, you open attachment, EDR is a good tool. And I'd love to talk to you all about it, but we're going to continue with the S.L.A.M method. But when in doubt, do not click and ask your InfoSec team. The next is one of the most important parts of S.L.A.M, and that is the message, the actual contents of the email, of the phishing email. The first thing you do, you look at the sender. Okay, I trust them. I think it's someone I could trust. Okay, you see a link. Oh, that's not too important. There's no attachment. All right, we're good. Let's really analyze this message. And in my personal experience, I analyze the message first because that's usually where you can catch some mishaps. But usually I say usually, nowadays, cyber attackers are getting very, very good. But sometimes you'll see possible misspelled words or bad grammar. And those are things that can give away a phishing email. But like I said, nowadays, cyber criminals, they understand this. They are looking for those conversion rates. And so they're trying to make it look as legitimate as possible just to get you to click or to open that attachment or to give them some of the information they're asking for. And so you still have to look for those little red flags, but there might not be any in that message. So the next you move on to that call to action. Usually in a phishing email, they're going to try and create a sense of urgency or try and get you to do something, as in open the file or click the link. Well, or even you'll see in the message coming up, act quickly, or we need this ASAP, or your account will expire if you don't put in your login and your password. Things like that. Those are red flags. First off, that should catch your attention. That's not normal. Your employee wouldn't, from down the hall, he wouldn't send you, hey, I need these, your bank information ASAP. Can you please send this to me? He'd either call you, hey, can I get this real quick, But those little misspelled words, bad grammar, call to actions, and that sense of urgency are red flags that you need to watch out for, and that will give away an actual phishing attempt, a phishing attack. So you can see in this message that the same phishing attempt that we've been reviewing to this presentation, you can actually see the sense of urgency that it's trying to create. So let's dive through the message. You can see it says, updating direct deposit, asking for bank information. Please click on the link to confirm or update your bank information. We need to submit the paperwork ASAP. So it had the link, first red flag, or actually human resources, the sender, first red flag, the link, second red flag. Now we'll dive to the message, and it's creating that sense of urgency that we need you to give us your information immediately. That's the third red flag. And so this is perfect example. And you may have gotten an email like this today. Hopefully you didn't click on it, but you see all those red flags in that one message. That's something that you need to let your other employees know. okay, hey, this message is going around. I know it's a phishing link. Please stay away. Or you need to inform your InfoSec team. And if that's IronTech Security, you would send that over to us and we would analyze it, make sure it's okay. If it's not, we tell you and all your other employees, say, hey, this is going on. Be wary of this phishing attempt. But if you don't have that security team, at least do your part. You've gone through S.L.A.M. You've identified it's a phishing email, and do your part by helping your other employees out as well. But say if you went through the whole process and you're like, I still think it's all right. Click on it and it's actually a phishing attempt. Well, what could happen? First, of course, the big ones, lost data and ransomware. Most phishing emails, their aim is to infect your computer or your network and lock up those files, that data, basically everything you need to operate. The ransomware is trying to lock those up. And of course, in turn, you must pay a ransom. And then, of course, they'll give you the encryption key or release the files, things like that. But the main thing is, even when they're asking for the ransom and you pay the price, $50,000 plus, of course, it's going to be more than that, but you go ahead and pay it. Well, most of the time, the cyber criminals, they could, and most often they can delete the information anyways, or they give you the encryption key, but they don't release all of the data that you need. And so you're still in the hole and you lost all this money. But when we talk about money, the financial aspect, the financial loss of what could happen by just simply clicking on a link, opening an attachment, that's what should really open your eyes. From doubled in the past year from 2020 to 2021, the average financial loss of a whole total cyber attack ranged from about $750,000 to almost $2 million. That's just the average in 2021. Now, this is the cost, including downtime, actually paying the ransom, the actual time for people, getting new devices, repairing your network, opportunity loss, all of these financial aspects that you have to think of when your employee could simply just click on a link and then you could possibly be out of business because of this financial loss just by clicking on a link. That really opened my eyes, and I know it probably opens a lot of business owners and employees' eyes as well. But that's not just all that could happen. Reputation loss as well. I know reputation is a huge factor in all business. Business runs off of trust and relationships. And when you lose that trust from your current clients, from prospects, that's when basically your business is useless. No one can trust you. And what are you supposed to do now? Well, during a ransomware attack or a data breach or overall a cyber attack. So of course, your business is at risk. Your client's information is at risk. You have to, there's laws coming in. Some are already in motion and already in actual laws. But if you have a ransomware attack or a cyber attack, or if you have a data breach, you have to report that. You have to make it known, of course, let your employees and clients and let everyone know that this has happened. And so there's no hiding an attack or hiding a ransomware attack anymore. Your reputation is at risk without having the proper training to prepare your employees to know not to click on a link, or know I'm not too sure about the sender. Maybe I should ask someone about this. Simply just, like I said, clicking on that attachment could, one, either put you out of business financially, could ruin your reputation for years, because trust takes a long time to build back. And it all could be lost by simply clicking on a link. Last thing is also the personal impact. So, of course, impact your clients and your prospects' lives, but also it doesn't just happen to businesses. It also happens in your personal life. So say Facebook, Instagram, Reputations and things have been ruined because of, we'll just keep it simple, to social media hacks, or say your credentials were compromised. Excuse me. You fell for email, you get one from Facebook, you think it's from Facebook, you didn't follow S.L.A.M, you give them your credentials, now your Facebook account is compromised, and they have the keys to the kingdom. They can do whatever they want with your personal life. And so those are things to think about when discussing phishing emails and actual training and understanding what to look for. But this is one of my favorite examples right here. So we're talking about what could happen. This is the absolute best scenario that you could hope for if you gone through S.L.A.M, you still click on that link. This is the number one thing that you would hope and pray for that would happen. You clicked on the link and you get this message. So of course you'd have to be a client of Kirkham IT or IronTech Security, but you would see that this shows that you've just fallen for a simulated phishing email. You've fallen for a training exercise. We take your mistakes and turn them into a learning experience. So we'd show you what you fell for, how we got you, what to look out for next time, a short video explaining everything. It'll probably even go through the S.L.A.M method with you, but it's very, very, very important training that is needed. That is just a necessity. That's essential to all organizations, to all employees. And that's because your employees, they are your first line of defense. Human error, it's inevitable. And so, like I said before, how would you learn S.L.A.M? How would you know what to look for? This is where continuous cybersecurity training is essential. It just has to be done. You have to have it for simple reasons, such as knowing not to click on a link. That could save your business. If you're a personal entrepreneur, personal business owner, you've been building your company for 10, 15 years, and finally you're at a good spot. If a new employee fell for a spear phishing attempt, they click on that attachment, and now you have ransomware, you're $500,000 in the hole, and your reputation is ruined. What do? It all could have been avoided with preparing and equipping your first line of defense, your employees, with the proper training and tools that they need to have the best chance to protect your organization. Because human error, it's inevitable. This is one of the craziest stats that I think regarding cybersecurity is 95% of successful cyber attacks came from human error. And that's not meaning like your employees are malicious cyber criminals or they're cyber attackers. No, that's simply because we go through the motions of our day-to-day work, click on a link, see attachment, open it, and now the successful cyber attack has began. But it could easily be avoided with training. And so, okay, yeah, I have annual training once a year. That's usually good enough. Well, it used to be good enough. That's the thing. Now, cybersecurity training, it's not one and done. Continuous training once a month or even weekly. That is what's needed in today's world. And it's not something we can just ignore. It's not like cyber attacks are going to go away, but it's just something that we have to live with and we have to prepare ourselves for. So what do you do? Okay, my team, my employees, they need training, or we at least want to figure out where we stand, where our security posture is. My sole advice is speak with an InfoSec specialist. Speak with me. I'm not shoving sales down your throat. All I want to do is we'll talk about your current organization, what's going on with your network, what security you already have in place. And then from that, we'll develop a plan to put the proper security controls in place to make sure you have the best chance regarding a cyber attack, a phishing email. Make sure your employees are equipped with the training that they need to overall protect your organization. Now you see the meeting.irontechsecurity.com. That's going to be in the chat. You can click on that. you can schedule a short 30-minute meeting with me. It'll be real quick over Zoom. We'll talk about all these things and figure out the best route specific to your organization. Or you can shoot an email to sales@IronTechSecurity.com, and we can get back to you that way. But overall, if you want something quick, and like I said, reach on that phone, 479-397-1200. Give me a call, and I'd love to talk to you, see what's going on, talk about cybersecurity training, what different options would fit best for your organization, and we can go from there. But if you have any questions, I know we're we're right at the 30-minute mark from when we started. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. I'd love to answer those for you. Let's see what we got.
Davin, I do have one for you. How do you prevent hacking on your Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat accounts?
All right. Well, that's a good question. And that happens all the time. I'm pretty sure my grandma has, her Facebook has been hacked multiple times, but that comes to the simple fact of poor credential management, password management, or a weak password. And so what I would recommend is, one, do not reuse passwords no matter what. I mean, something simple as Instagram, Snapchat, those are easy things that a lot of people reuse their passwords, but of course, then you result in your social media being compromised. But also, and Tom put in the chat box, turn on MFA. If you have, wherever you can use MFA, turn it on, because if your credentials are compromised, someone tries to log in, the next thing they have to do is reach in your pocket. Let me see. Here we go. I got mine right here. They have to reach in your pocket, get your phone, and then they have to get the 4 to 6 digit code that is needed to log into your account. And so my main recommendations, do not reuse passwords. Look for a password manager. We actually have a password manager that we recommend and can provide for you, as well as turn on MFA. It's needed. It's essential. Anywhere it can be turned on, use it.
So we have another question. This one's from Connie. What is MFA?
MFA. Oh, yes. Good question. Multi-factor authentication. And so that is where basically you log in and say, we'll just keep it simple, Facebook. You put in your login, your password, you click submit or log in. Next, it'll take you to another screen and it'll say, we've sent you a 4-digit code to your phone. Can you please type that in? You'll get a text or email on your phone. It'll have the 4 to 6 digit code. You'll type that in, and then you'll have access to whatever you're trying to log into. If it's Facebook, you'll have access to Facebook. Yes, multi-factor authentication, MFA, that's what that is.
Yeah, it's also known as 2FA or two-factor authentication. So different accounts or platforms call it different things. So
yes,
we do have one more that says when you're talking about, hovering over links, it's just kind of a comment from Bruce. It says, yes, hover is your friend. Caution, you can't often hover when you're using a tablet.
Yes, that's true.
So if you are using a tablet, you don't have the ability to just hover, but you should have the ability to preview the link.
Yeah, you should have the ability. And if you don't, if you can't hover, like Tom says, you can kind of long press, hold it down, and it may pop up. But even if that's not working, when in doubt, do not click the link. Ask someone, refer it to your information security specialist. If there's other red flags, of course, refer it to your information security specialist. But that's a good point to bring up regarding mobile devices, tablets, things like that.
And just one comment to add about password manager. The password manager that we use and resell actually has MFA or 2FA built inside of it. So the application does it all for you. You don't have to use 2 different things like the password manager and Google Authenticator. You can just use Keeper and just Keeper for the MFA and your passwords.
It's very user-friendly.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, if we have any other questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat box in the Q&A box. We can stay on here as long as we need to. And if we don't see any come in, I just want to thank everyone for joining us.
Yes.
We will be doing another webinar at the end of the month. And Davin, do you have the title of that one pulled up?
I do not, but we will be talking about NIST and the NIST assessment. And
Yes.
so what NIST is a security and risk assessment that you can do for your organization to basically understand your current security posture, where you're vulnerable at, and of course, from there, fill in the gaps that are needed to get your security posture to where it needs to be.
Alrighty, everybody. Thanks again for attending, and just shoot Davin an email or give him a call if you have any questions. Even if it's just for a short little chat, he would love to help you. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you.